What up guys, Bo here again, and in this entry I want to go on from the previous entry which I did about lying, right? And to kind of, this entry is kind of like me kind of expressing my frustration, I guess, with life. But it's kind of, yeah, so in the previous entry I talked about, lying and how ultimately it disconnects us, right? But we find ourselves in a societal situation where we have to lie in order to get by. Even if we want to not lie, we have to lie first to get to a place where we don't have to lie. And I should have done this in the previous entry, but like an example of that would be, if you wanted a job, there's a lot of lying involved in that. Believe me, everyone knows this. You have to lie somewhat, when you get into the job market. But you have to, because you have to survive, right? So even if you wanted to build some kind of empire or something like that, dedicated to truth and honesty and connection, you first have to go about it. If you want to do this route, because you could do some other radical route where it's like, no, I'm not, like, I'm sticking to my values completely. I'm not like compromising. But yeah, if you want to go this the kind of more safe route, I guess you could say, then you have to lie to some extent in order to get to a point where you don't have to lie. Right, so that was the last entry. In this entry I want to talk about the fight of life. Right. This has been something that's been on my mind a lot recently. And it's something that people always think and feel, but it's not something that's like easily verbalized. And that is that, like, life is kind of a very brutal fight. There is an aspect of life that is very kind of brutal and kind of harsh. There's no like kind of sweet way of putting it, right? This is the thing, like, because I would love to just sit here and talk about positivity and like what is the ideals that I have surrounding what life should be like, what people should be like, what society should be like. But there is an aspect of life that is very harsh and unforgiving, right? And I don't really have to say much about that. Like, I mean, you feel it, everyone feels it. Like, think about us as human beings, like physically. Like, all it takes is like, we in many ways we're very kind of complex and durable and awesome, but in other ways we're extremely fragile. All it takes is one thing to go wrong, and we're dead, right? We only have one life that we know of, like, from a physical sense, as us, as me, as Boris, as Bo Jinjin. I only have this one life, right? As far as I know, I'm not going to come back as me. Like, if I die, like, there's no retries in this. And, it's kind of very harsh. And, like, in life, we're put here, in this environment, that we've done a very good job of kind of, like, molding to kind of fit our needs. But, way back when, when we were just kind of, cavemen, living in tribes, we had to brave the elements. We had to deal with like, dangers in the environment. We had to deal with dangers amongst ourselves. Like people who trying to kill us, animals trying to kill us. People freezing to death, people starving to death. It's very, very, very kind of brutal. Like, pain and death and stuff like that. Just very gritty. Yeah, and and from that perspective, like, look at our society around us. Like, we've not done bad for ourselves. We've built houses that are reliable, that don't topple over, that can't be blown away in the wind. We've created systems and structures and order where we don't have to kill ourselves. Like, we don't have to kind of kill each other, like, in order to like procure like resources and things like that. Like, so people complaining about like internet kind of debates and like flaming and name calling, trolling, like, think about what it would have been like, way back when when we had to kill each other, like to kind of survive, So yeah, but having said that, there is an element of that still survives to like this kind of modern age. There is still an aspect of like clambering over each other in order to survive in society. If you want that job, you need to compete with like the 10 other people that are also applying for that job. In order to get the girl, you have to like compete with the other 10 like people like also competing, like men also competing for that girl, and vice versa. If you're a girl, like competing for the man that you want. And then once you've got them, you've got to keep them. So you've got to like keep like your competitors away to some extent, right? If you have a dream and you want to pursue it, like you have to kind of go through all this bullshit. You have to like survive physically. You have to get money to survive, and you have to kind of control your environment and like your influences and your own habits in order to facilitate you actually realizing that dream, right? So, and that stuff is not pretty. It's not like oh yeah, it'll be fine. Yeah, if you work hard, it'll be fine. But like you have to work hard, right? If you don't work hard, you're just gonna be like you're gonna fail, right? There's no way of sugarcoating that. So yeah, very, 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 very gritty aspect of life, right? And again, I wish I could say to everyone, I wish I could say to myself most of all, that it'd be okay. And sometimes this is what like I want to do, like incidentally, about like with my kind of skills, like it's kind of emotional regulation, like emotional fulfillment, emotional healing ultimately is what I want to do. And that involves telling people that it's okay and giving them strength to carry on, because there is a balance, right? Yes, life is harsh, but life is also to be won. Like life doesn't have to be harsh. It doesn't have to be harsh. It can also be beautiful, right? And that's kind of what I want to do. But I don't want to lie to you guys and to myself and say that life is like all kind of sunshine and rainbows, because it's not. Like some aspects of life are very unforgiving, right? But again, the whole thing is like presence, right? And kind of realizing that like that is all kind of part of the cosmic plan, you could say. All of that exists, and even though like it'd be nice to have a life that's comfortable and you get what you want and you fulfill yourself, versus a life that's full of pain and then like your people around you dying and that kind of thing. It all exists. Like we all experience things that are good and we all experience things that are terrible, right? That are tragic. So like the thing with presence is like yes, we can appreciate things that happen that are good and are pleasant, versus, and we can try and avoid situations that are bad for us, dangerous, result to loss. But we have to realize that like it is all part of the plan, right? And we should see all of these things equally. Like basically we shouldn't be attached to anything. We shouldn't be attached to like kind of just pursuing the good. For example, because that is the most dangerous thing out of everything, right? You could be in a concentration camp and you could survive it and move on. But if you're stuck in a mentality where you're attached, like, why is my life shit? Why can I not just like have more like a purely good life? That's a very, very like dangerous pitfall to fall into, right? One that potentially you can never get out of if you really kind of entrenched in that way of thinking. Obviously you can always get out of it, but like the tendency is for people like that, they never get out of it because like they're just so entrenched, right? And that is the frustrating thing, like, because life is about possibility. Like, there's always a possibility to move on, but like it's just that some people and the way that some aspects of society are set up, like, it's very difficult to get out of them for some people, right? Yeah. So there is the fighting aspect of life, right? There is an aspect of life that is like very kind of like kill, conquer, you know, me or you, you know, like it's either me or you, you know, that kind of thing. So, you know, it's very kind of, yeah, like brutal, I guess you could say. Very sobering. But the thing with fighting is that you could fight other people. You could fight by, you know, sabotaging other people, by dominating other people, by dominating your environment. You know, you can fight in that way. Or you could choose to fight in a way that is more resourceful. And what I mean by this is fighting the internal fight, right? Fighting the internal demons, right? Which means that, like, you know, what happens in life is going to happen, right? But if you kill someone, then that's going to be trouble for you. That's not going to end well for you. Or if you kind of double cross someone on purpose, you take revenge on someone. Well, you know, obviously there's grey areas, but like generally that's not going to help you in the long run, right? What is going to help you in the long run is fighting your internal demons. So kind of this is all about changing your perspectives and your identities, right? I've talked about this in previous entries, you know, becoming open-minded and challenging your identity and your kind of attachments, such that like you release attachment to things that are not resourceful for you, and you can be strong internally and use that strength to get the things you want in life without having to resort to, you know, like you know, fighting a dirty fight, basically, because that's really all it is. Like if you lose your kind of grounding, you lose your composure, and you do something that you might regret, then that is dirty fighting, right? Because it's fighting that's gonna like end badly for you in some way. You're gonna have to, there's gonna be like a payoff that you're gonna have to pay off, right? If you kill someone, you're gonna go to jail. If you double cross someone, they might like, and you need their help afterwards. They're not gonna help you, you know, that kind of thing. So yeah, so you want to fight a clean fight, and what that means is taking failure and loss and pain in your stride and learning to accept that and to be okay with that and not be overly attached to the pain and, you know, loss and failure, and basically making yourself strong, you know, making yourself strong and fighting in that way, right? And what this will do is it will mature you as a person, and you will go and you will reach a point, you know, well, it is my hope that I will reach this point as well, where you'll be an asset to society. You know, like you will actually kind of drive the conscious evolution of humanity, as opposed to just, you know, maintaining this current paradigm where, you know, it's kind of dog-eat-dog world. Again, like I say, there's always going to be an aspect of that in life. There's always going to be an aspect of that in life. The difference is that you're not contributing to that, right? It's happening to you, but you're not lashing back in anger, you know, in insecurity, in chaos, right? But you're developing strength internally that gives you the capability to consciously like decide how to act when that kind of thing happens, right? When something really, really, really fucking terrible happens to you, if like someone you love dies, or they leave you, you know, you lose everything you have, and you have to literally brave like the elements, you know, that kind of thing. You get like brutally injured or something like that, you know. You lose, you know, if you're a musician, you lose your hearing. If you're an artist, you lose your sight. Things like that, you know. If something really brutal happens, you have the inner fortitude to take that. Like, deal with the mourning process, you know, the grieving process, the pain, the suffering, and then move on, right? That is the true fight. That is how you fight in life and win, right? So cool. Keep going, you know. Having said all of that, you know, life is not all like greyness and bloodiness, you know, and tragedy. It is also beauty. They both exist, you know. They both exist, you know. It's not about one or the other. They both exist, right? And we take both of them and we roll with it. Cool. So, cool. Hope that was helpful. Keep going. You know, keep going. Be strong. And I will see you in the next entry. Peace.